every time when a series gets to this point, I always have so much fun. And that's when we have characters gathered and it's like, okay, this is like the first time that we're going to see like a lot of characters just use their abilities for the first time. Because up until now, we've had characters mostly just show stuff when it's their turn in a very more honed environments. Obviously, like Kiyoshi, like just by himself, usually a lot of fights, like Hisugi when he was showing up to do stuff, Tsurugi when they were fighting Jack Joe, Sakaki in his fights, like anything like that where it's like, okay, this is clearly going to be set on this character. And then in cases of like Kiyoshi and Sakaki's fight, we see a little bit of both of them. But we're going to be seeing more of the side characters, which I'm very happy about. I've mentioned, I think when it comes to like right now there's like the 4 new gens of like, again, what I would consider the new new gen of this current era, like Kagurabachi, Ichi the Witch, Galaxias, and Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi. I want to check out that Martial King series. I really hope it's going to be interesting. I really like the Wild West theme it seems to have. I don't know. I saw a small preview. It looks interesting. We're gonna check it out on the 7th. Yeah, I think that's when it comes out. But anyway, but Kiyoshi, like I've mentioned and I've talked about it again, I still believe it. Right now, out of the new gens, Kiyoshi is definitely what I would say has the best characters. It has I personally believe it has the best spread of characters, or at least for my style. Maybe some people like a different style, but I think it's been fantastic for like general designs, different character personalities, and ways they've been implemented into the series. And now we're seeing some of them actually in action, which I'm very happy about. 2, we also opened up with Yuta, and Yuta, I just thought his bit was really cool, where he's got like 3 exorcists that he used to be on. I don't think they have like a set team they were on. I imagine it was whatever Sakaki's team was called, just in general after that point. I don't know anything about like in terms of like names or like different aspects of like detail, but he's got like 3 dudes he's captured. He has to sacrifice them, and again, still impressive for him. Like Yuta looked, I think, weak overall in his fight, but he was against Sakaki, because it was like Sakaki was winning and then Yuta pulled a move around for a moment, but then he pulled out the instant death slayer blade. So it's like, okay, now he's just going to be able to, he just was dicing him up at that point, and Yoda had to leave. Whereas now it's like, these are no named anybody guys, but it's still, I would assume, him just seemingly handling them no problem doesn't seem to be much for, it's just a testament to his strength. And it's hard to really say, but I would assume these guys would at least be decent. Because like if they were on team with him and Sakaki, they would probably be at least somewhere of noteworthy value. Maybe not crazy, but at least like I said, decent status. But then like he opens the cult hole to one to summon all the demons and start up the Black Parade, which I think it's really cool that we're getting into the fray of things without it just being like, all right, we're having the boss fights. Because I really was hoping we would see more of like widespread chaos for a little bit. And I like the way that it was set up too, kind of just they just had a little trash filter to get all the really low level demons out of the way. It's like, because there are times when it's like a series will have something in layout but it doesn't explore it. I know, like, easy example, Black Clover had I know those because it was something that Black Clover people talked about a lot, is going more into seeing the effects and resolution of like the discrimination against like lower levels of magic people, and then obviously in Asa's case, somebody with no magic. There never really was much in depth really for politics. I don't think really Tabata wanted to go into that too much. It just doesn't seem to be a style. It's like something that could be there, but it's like, does he want to do that, or does he want to do like cool devil fights? And then Mashal ended up doing that more so. Again, not like deep politics, but more so of like the general public and a lot of characters' opinions on the ladder. I thought it was handled better in that style because it was focused more. And then hopefully here, what we're really seeing, I was really happy when the first gate opened and like the devils started pouring out in Black Clover. We didn't really sit on that for a while. I just dropped I just let my keyboard slide entirely out. They didn't really sit on that and like really kind of like show enough to where we didn't see a lot of like the other levels of devils, really. And we're seeing, okay, first off, we're gonna have just the trash devils, like all the low level ones, filtered out, because they have this whole like filter barrier essentially over Naraku City, and it just kills the low and medium level ones. But again, the thing is, I think that's smart, obviously, just to kill the flies, but also a lot of them would just be fodder, like, because we know at least like all the cross paladins have to be at least as fully capable in general strength as chapter 2 Kiyoshi. I would say there's no argument like that I feel like any of the cross paladins would have been able to blitz and one-shot Sato just like Kiyoshi did. So it's like, I would say in any scenario like this is just a lot of flies. There's a lot of them and they're gonna keep coming, but for anybody, they've got at least, they got Sakaki, they got Kurogane, I want to know what they're going to regularly call her, if they're going to call her Kyoka or Kurogane. Every time I hear Kyoka, I think of Kyoka from Tartaros. But, they've got Tsurugi, and they've got Kiyoshi, and then obviously, and Hitsugi obviously isn't all the way at that level. I feel like he still would be just fine against a lot of these guys. None of like I would assume, whatever the top level demons, I would say like maybe one of them 1v1, but like he wouldn't surprise me if he could beat Sada now, because we already know he also got a lot stronger and he got a crest. But yeah, these guys are just lots of neat little designs. I really love the odd mayhem of the devils and demons in this. Like, they're all just, the designs are so weird and different, and it's like you have like a regular witch, and then it's like, oh yeah, you got like a Mad Max devil on the back of a demon-headed like drum thing going on, and he's playing the guitar, and then riding like a skull train with some guy crucified on the front. It's just really cool, like the style of this manga. I love the odd kind of metal goth style that goes into it. I think it's just fantastic. But Kiyoshi wants to go out of his way just to go and just one shot essentially all these. Definitely a good idea in theory, because it's like, oh, if I one shot all of these, it's like, okay, then we'll just have the bosses and we have enough people to handle it until I recover. In idea, but it's like, we don't know how long this is gonna, like how much like the raid is essentially, because say like you used all of his power and just wiped this whole first layer clean himself. I would assume at that point it's like, okay, well, just literally 1 minute later it's gonna be back, and now we have Kiyoshi tired. It'd just be a bad idea, because I think in this scenario too, because when Kiyoshi says like he's gonna settle it, and my dog is sitting behind me and he unfortunately just is moving around and waking himself up. He's decided that the back of right behind me on my chair is the best spot. But you almost got me distracted. Luckily, I didn't lose my train of thought. No pun on the train. Actually, I'm mad that the train got destroyed. I'm really hoping the demon inside the train, if any of them, is alive. The violin guy looks cool. The guy, like, he looks like he's either got like one eye or some cool like mask thing with an eye hole on it, and he's playing the violin like right at the top of the smokestack of the train. There's also some like old giant mobster style guy inside of the train, and I would assume out of this squad he would probably be the strongest, considering he's like inside the train riding it. I don't know, but I mean, like, I don't have any stock of any of the guys in the opening picture, just because we know that none of those guys are demon lords. And again, anybody who's not a demon lord, I assume will just get completely one shot by multiple characters. Because assuming because like, even if you say like Hitsugi is would go like into a hard fight with Sada, I would still say like these guys would be nobodies for him at this point, because we also know that he's we also know that crap, I'm trying to remember the dog's name from Memento Forest. I'm gonna have to pull that chapter up in a minute before I also hang on a sec. Okay, cool. On pause. Kiyoshi though here, and I don't want to. I realized too I was gonna lose my train of thought further talking about this cool set of trains, but I feel like Kiyoshi was not really thinking in the fact that this is a group fight, because he's like, he's gonna settle this in one go. He's like thinking only on himself doing something here. when he's got multiple other people that are fully capable. But again, I think that's just because he's young and he's not really thinking about the large scope of what's going on, and the fact, again, if he lost power now, then what happens when somebody, you know, what if Zudaroth just showed up and then Kiyoshi's like, oh, I need 5 minutes, you know, to regain his strength. You know, I really hope that maybe that's the opening train, and maybe we get another demon train at some point. I'd love to see, like, if any of those guys that came down are going to get any, like, actual focus fights. I don't imagine so. Like, one of them, two of them specifically, we do see survive. Like, the guy with, like, the cool hacksaw-looking blade, and then the forearm guy. But the fights, I don't imagine we're gonna get too much focus on. Maybe we'll get like a short scene where we see a little bit about them, but I don't imagine too much again. After that point, we just get like some little goofball ass demons, and they're flying around just like, oh, these guys are dumb, you know, should do an aerial attack, and here they are getting sniped. I love the dude's badass like pentagram, like cross, I guess crossguard, I don't know what to really call it, sniper rifle that has like it has a scope, and then it has a magnifying glass in like inside of one of the pieces of the cross. It just looks cool, and it uses part of the cross to like stabilize the rifle. This guy just looks really clean. I really like the whole setup with just showing these guys, because they're not just, it's not just, oh, let me just use a page to show every character. It's sifting between them. I would assume we're going to get a little bit more next chapter, and then maybe at the end of the next chapter we'll start setting up some of these boss fights, because we did get a little bit, I don't remember exactly if we had too much demon rank structure, because I don't think we've had a direct, I'm trying to remember if we've had a direct diagram of them. I don't know. Not important right now. But we do know, obviously, they talk about the mid and below. So there's, low, mid-level demons. I don't know if there's anything below whatever low is, maybe bottom level. And then there's high and top level. So one thing that's mentioned is there's high level demon lords. And we know Jack Joe, he said that he was, at the time when he was there, at one of the highest level. I wonder if that would imply that it's like he is in the highest out of all of them, or is it the highest out of like that area, or so it's like, is there a top level demon lord? I don't know. I would assume it's like that, because it makes sense. It's like if there's low, mid, high, and top level demons, and then the same thing, but it's demon lords, and then you have the great demon lord. I don't know. Well, one of 3. That's what I assume, that there's eventually going to be one above like a single rank that we're going to get revealed at some point at the story. But yeah, the whole sniper rifle thing was really cool. I wonder if he uses any form of like conjured bullets, or if he's just straight using maybe like rounds that are like encrypted with, I don't know, a bunch of writing from the Bible. It's a bunch of stuff about Jesus, and they get hit by the bullet and they're just immediately exorcised. But this other dude, this Akari's brother, he's just like, he seems to have a lightning power, I assume. They literally called him, his attack has lightning in it, but I mean, like, could be the attack name. I assume it's just straight lightning. We didn't get like because we didn't get anything where it was like, oh, let me explain my power so you understand it a little bit, so we understand it in like, maybe it's something slightly different than like, oh, I just produce electricity, or maybe he straight like, oh yeah, while I'm doing this, I become partially lightning. One of those things. Who knows? Right now, as I assume, he power up. He's able to do some cool stuff. He definitely looks, because like when this dude he goes to attack, is he's able to run clearly like he's faster than a normal person and do these cool like big building jumps, but it doesn't seem like one of those scenes where he's like moving at the speed of lightning. I'm just guessing right now it's like he's lightning buffed, and then maybe one day he'll get there and he'll get to walk in that area with characters that jump up to lightning speed because of a power achievement that they have of being a lightning user. I always like it more when it's like they start out using lightning and it's clear they aren't at that stage, and then you just one day you see it and it's very clear of like something really crazy, like this guy blitzes somebody from like a 3-mile distance, and you're like, well shit, That was pretty insane. But he goes and he saves these girls that are out just kind of going on a stroll, I think, the convenience store. And but he's like, after he saves them, he's asking for their Instagram handles. The thing is, I don't think this would work in this scenario because they didn't see the demon. They don't know what's going on. They just had this guy suddenly appear, and then he gets up and he asks for their Instagram names. Definitely not the best look for him. We also get a little bit of Yoko. We saw her earlier during the Grand Cross whole exam setup, and we don't see anything about her powers. We just see her using her weapon, which is this really cool axe with cross. The cool cross theme is just always really cool. I like it when series have very stylized and recurring aspects of them, especially something like this, because usually when it's Exorcist, it's from Japan. It's more of like their style. I really like the whole kind of more church gothic setup. I think it stands out, at least I guess in comparison to the other ones. Maybe in the future it'll be the opposite, but she's just doing more so big melee attacks, which is really cool. I want to know what she gets ability wise, because I imagine she has something like, oh, I make my axe, it gets heavier every single time I swing it. It's able to triple its weight, kind of thing. And it uses it more offensively rather than something like Wabiske, where it gives away. It's like every single time she's able to keep swinging. Or maybe it'd be like I swing it, but the weight happens only when it's going down. So you just have these continuously growing, more powerful cleaves. That'd be pretty sweet. Like they're just having some general interactions. I wish Akari. I know she's gonna get to do something. I don't need her to have like a really cool big fight moment in this arc, because she's like literally one of the only characters that doesn't have much for combat capability that we know of. I'm just hoping she does something cool. I want her to do a really cool character defining thing, because I like that there's a character that's also not very strong at the moment. It's unfortunate. It's got to be her. She's got like the female character that can't fight problem going on right now. But I 100% think that that's just going to be her current issue, because somebody has to. And the problem is that I don't think it can be Nihon and Jack Joe, just because we already know Jack Joe, like his rank, like where he was at whenever he was at his prime, and we know that Jack Joe and Nihon, like they've been pretty much just bros for what I'm trying to remember the exact, was it 10 years? Might have been longer. They've known each other for so long, and I don't even need to make the argument that it's like their synergy is going to end up being really good for their power. Plus, obviously, the demon he's going to be getting his power from, I assume, is going to be, because it's like obviously Sakaki is a different story himself, but high stakes. We don't have a rank on him, but I would be surprised if he was Demon Lord or above. Maybe he was something close to that, and like with Sakaki he's that or above. But either way, it's like you look at maybe like I guess combined, not as alone, but it's like Jack Joe, we know he was one of the highest ranking demon lords of the 13 club. So they just have clearly much more. They have much more of like, hey, my power is clearly already kind of set and it's going to be really crazy. We just haven't gotten there yet. And then Hitsugi, we know Hitsugi's whole setup already. We just don't know what his whatever his thing is going to be in this whole arc. So hopefully Akari, I just want Akari to be able to pull out something that, like, if you look at it afterwards, nobody else would have been able to do it in this scenario, and she was the one that was able to get a job done. Because again, I don't mind her not being able to fight, because assuming that she's going to get to something eventually, it'll be nice to see her grow in that direction, especially when we know from her introduction that she's been having, like, she just has had issues with her powers and she's not able to do the same levels as other people, the same level of exorcism capabilities as just other people generally would at her age, which again, if it's something that is like going to be tied to her story or something, to her character at some point, it will make it better getting to that point rather than just kind of skipping over it, because we don't need to see Nihon and Jack Joe as much get to that, because we didn't have that, that whole kind of drag down self drag down, but not let myself get emotionally out kind of thing. Like just holding on there, and then obviously meeting the main character, and then that's just kind of cheering them up. But she's a nice character. I like her, so I'm really hoping at some point that she's able to figure out what her role is going to kind of be, because she's got her whole sensing thing going on, but obviously that's more of like a hype setter more than anything, because it's like that goes off and it's like, oh shit, something's about to happen, which is good. But I'm wondering what she could do to just to kind of bring stuff in and kind of provide to the team. If we don't see any healers, like I don't want to have to put her stuck to that role, but I mean, like, if she ends up being like a healer and they don't have many healers, it's like, okay, her value has factually grown like 10 times. If we've only got like 2 healers and she's one of them, we need to keep her alive. We'll see. Maybe she'll get something completely different. Because it's like, I'm trying to think of something that would go good for her power, like with her whole sensory thing, but I would imagine like if she's got some form of healer or like support thing, it'd be really beneficial to know when danger is about to happen. It'd be good in with certain fighting abilities, but it's going to depend. Either way, though, I'm patient. I want to see. I've been really hyped to see what Jack, Joe, and Nihon can do. So I want to get to that, and then after that, we can start looking at training for Akari and getting her out. But I want Jack, Joe, and Nihon first, because I've been very curious about their power capabilities since they got the contract set up. After that like point, she's like, you just have like Yoko, and she's having like pretty much just doing I feel like what you would expect from her whole character setups. Little sized girl, apparently she's an adult, but has giant axe, and like she's got a whole thing. Apparently if you even say cute in a sentence with her, she gets mad. But Akari's like hair antenna goes crazy, and honestly I didn't notice this the first time I looked at the chapter, because I looked at the hand coming out and I completely forgot that the cult hole is huge. So I didn't really think about the size of that hand that came out. But it comes out and it opens its hand. First off, the arm has me extremely intrigued. Is it one of the 13 Club? Is it something different entirely? Is it Ushihara? Is that who that is? Are we going to get that character? But either way, I don't want to focus too much on this arm, because this arm is very intriguing to me. But the new 6 members of the 13 Club. For one, let me say this real fast, because we know, because these are high level. I would assume if though high level demon lords, I would assume highest is either above this and it's the top, or it will just be called top demon lord, top level. I feel like highest level demon lord still works in that same area, but like top level demon seems to already be a thing. So I would wonder if it would just be, use the same thing for the sake of making things simpler. But these guys, because one, assuming they haven't replaced the 3 missing 13 club members, we have these 6, and there will be 4 more. If they have been replaced, there'll be 7 more coming after this, because I think that would make sense. If say like we're not counting the Jack, Joe, Sada, and Mado, and then it's these 6, and then after that maybe the next 4, and they're the top level demon lords, and then after them is Azudaroth. But these guys all look cool. One, this first guy just starting through him, this guy with like the black coat and the white hair, and he's got a mask kind of like Sada and Mado. I'm very curious as this guy must be like, if they're like a trio, this guy would be like the leader of that trio, I feel. You got some blind girl, Gorgon style, like she's got like just a jacket with her boobs almost fully out, and she's got blindfold. Her design is all right to me. I don't really care about her. I looked at this other girl, and like she didn't look as interesting to me at first, and every single time I looked at her, like for the next like 4 takes, I liked her more, because like she's got like this. I like her hairstyle for one, but I like how it looks like this is a result of the fact she's wearing this gas mask. The gas mask, on top of that, she's looking like, because of it, like she just looks like she's not even paying attention to where they're going. She's just looking up at the sky as she's like thinking about stabbing herself in the throat. Her like whole sleeve thing is cool. I really like, I don't know what that style is called, where it's like separated, and I don't know if it's directly connected to, or maybe it's like connected in part way. This is going on way longer, but I really wanted to talk about some of these characters. Like, there was a lot in this chapter I wanted to talk about because we had a really good, diverse spread out of different things. But it looks like almost like her sleeves are cut from her blade. I don't know. I think it's a really cool, neat little thing. And then like these leather belts that are around him too. But her weird, I don't know if that would be like almost Iron Maiden-y kind of like dress is really neat. And there's this other dude, he doesn't seem to have eyes. I don't want to talk about him much. The only thing I want to think about him is because his horns look veiny, but they're in a similar style of the dude next to him. And this guy definitely is somehow related to Jack Joe. But the idea that I'm wondering if, because these two dudes have the same like shaped horns, except one dude's horns are like, again, all veiny and weird looking, but like they're in the same general shape. So I'm wondering maybe it's like they're brothers, where you have this one with the mask, and then you have this bigger one who's maybe like a pure berserker, and then Jack Joe is like, he got the best of both of their styles, and maybe he has like powers and large size and physical strength. The one though that by far the most, this dude, I can't wait to learn this guy's name, and I can't wait to see his fight. I don't need him to be a lasting villain for the next 50 chapters. I just want him to have a cool fight. Maybe he fights Hitsugi. That'd be so cool. Hitsugi or Tsurugi, please. A Tsurugi versus this guy would make me so happy, as long as his powers are cool in relation to him. I don't care, really. I assume he'll be cool with that. Because this dude was actually shown in chapter 1. When you go back, they're talking about how like the demon lords, other demon lords are going to start looking to come after Kiyoshi. You can look at some of the designs and say like some of them maybe could fit some of these other guys. This dude's is 100% the same guy. There's like his head shape is exactly the same. I love his design. One, he's got like a skeleton head with this like spike eye cover thing going on with these like massive outward horns that just point out dead straight. He's really big, but he's wide, and he has this like almost robe cloak with this cool demon language sash on it, and he's got these weird long skinny arms with gloves on. He looks creepy. I really like this guy's design a lot. I really like this style, and like I said, I've been looking forward to this dude like showing up on screen since he was initially shown. So I'm pretty stoked about this. I really want to know about whose arm this is. Like, if this is, because this is either some generic big giant powerful demon that's like, oh, I move things. It's one of the 13 clubs. Maybe it's the strongest 13 club member under Azudaroth, or I imagine it's Rushihara, and this is like maybe like the strongest demon, and he can't actually come in because the hole isn't big enough, but he's able to put his arm through and bring them here, kind of thing. I don't know. Because maybe his actual body is like way longer and larger, and just in general, like this could be a small arm. This is his little tiny arm that he uses to help the people. He's got that. I just imagine like this weird giant creature, but he's got these small little T-Rex arms in the front that he uses to communicate with. And again, these guys that otherwise are like the size of one of his fingernails. But yeah, this next couple chapters are going to be really cool, because I hope that each of these guys generally get like a chapter fight. Like, if I had to pick 3, I would say obviously big, tall in the back, Jack Joe looking guy, and then this girl. Because the Mafia dude looks cool, but I like the girl's design a lot. And then, like, again, the mask dude and this dude in the back, I love their designs. They're so cool. And there's no way this dude isn't somehow related to Jack Joe. But anyway, before I ramble on for too much longer, because this is going to be a long one, and I really, and this doesn't mean rambling for too long for the sake of rambling. I really liked this chapter. This was just, again, it's one of those chapters where just, you've been waiting for it. You've been waiting for a nice exhibition chapter of just getting character content from all these guys. Just absolute display of the manga itself. So other than that, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.